Hey guys, welcome back here to Intuitive Angling. And man, I appreciate you guys swinging by the channel and spending some of your day with me. I really appreciate that. And guys, you hear me talking a lot. If you've been watching my channel for the last few years, I talk about how much I like to fish in the month of March. March is the best month of the year to catch a big fish. There's no doubt whatsoever. By far, probably 75% of the giant bass that I've ever caught in my life, ones that I consider giant, which are over 7 pounds, have come in the month of March. It's the time of year when those big fish are up shallow, they're aggressive, and they're biting. And what I want to do in today's video, guys, is I want to show you some of not only my favorite lures to fish in the month of March, but I want to talk a little bit about where I like to fish each one of these lures to catch those good fish. So we're going to get into that in today's video. And also, guys, I will link all of these baits. I've got 5 different baits out here. I'll put every one of them individually in my tackle warehouse link in the description of this video if you guys would like to pick one up. Using my link in that description is a good way to get you some baits on sale right now at Tackle Warehouse. They got a big spring fishing sale, but it's a great way to support intuitive angling. So all that stuff will be there, and I really appreciate that. Okay, guys, first of all, guys, we have got so much chaos and negativity and upheaval and uncertainty going on in our country right now. It's really important to get away from that. It's like if you don't, you can get sucked into that and just be miserable all the time. And there's no better way to get away from all the chaos that we have going on right now than going bass fishing. I mean, that is a therapeutic, healing way to put everything aside for a little bit. And you don't ever want to underestimate the healing properties that being out in nature and being fishing has, because it will regenerate you. It will heal you. It changes your attitude. It changes it helps you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, everything. So try to get out there, especially in the month of March, because it's a really good time to be fishing. Okay, given that, let's talk about some of my favorite stuff here, and I'll explain a little bit when I like to fish them. So the first one, guys, is the bladed jig. This is the Earth Shaker bladed jig I use quite a bit with a Zoom Z-Swim trailer on the back of it in some type of a crawdad pattern. Now, this is key for the month of March. March is about the first month of the year I start using a bladed jig. Excuse me. And this is the time of year you're going to catch your big ones, not only on a bladed jig, but all these baits I'm talking about today. But you want some type of a brown or green with some orange in it. Now, it doesn't have to be specific, just as long as you got something brown, green with orange. It can be green and orange. It can be brown and orange. It can even be straight brown, but I do like a little bit of orange on the skirt. If you don't have a skirt that has orange, you can take your trailer, a green pumpkin trailer I use all the time, and dye the tail orange. That'll do the same thing. But this orange type of a bladed jig, usually like with some type of a brown or green or black blade, is an excellent lure to fish in the month of March. And you're basically fishing it around, and like a lot of these here, but you're fishing the bladed jig around these pre-spawn transition areas. So if you have a lake that has grass, obviously fishing it over the top of that submerged grass is going to be a good way to catch them. If you don't have submerged grass, get into an area that has some type of, usually I prefer a steeper bank, some type of a steeper rocky bank or some type of a bank with cover nearby. Slow roll it next to that and around any shallow cover that you have. A lot of times if you have shallow cover with a little bit of stained water, those fish will use those shallow targets in less than 5 foot of water. It could be a boat dock, it could be wood in the water, it could be dead lily pad stems, just whatever that you have. But boat ramps too, guys. That's another thing you want to remember with a bladed jig. If you see a boat ramp, especially like a residential boat ramp, throw a chatterbait on that boat ramp in March, and those big ones will get on there. But most of the time when I'm fishing the chatterbait, I want the water temperatures, to be over 50 degrees. And the water clarity window that I like for a bladed jig is 2 to 3 feet. You can catch them in dirtier water. Yeah, you can catch them in a foot and a half of water of visibility, and you can catch them in cleaner. But there's something about that 2 to 3 foot of visibility that is really good with the bladed jig this time of year. Okay, my next one, and this is one that a lot of people don't fish. A lot of people, when they get into March, they think about rock crawlers and wiggle warts. But guys, this is when they start biting a square bill crankbait really good, specifically a square bill that has any type of a crawfish coloration, red, brown, green, something like that. Some type of a crawdad pattern square bill crankbait in the month of March is excellent. This is the Megabass S Crank 1.5 here. Absolutely my favorite square bill for this time of year. It's got a medium wobble to it. Profile on it's about perfect. And just try to get some type of a crawdad pattern. Like I said, I'll link this again in my Tackle Warehouse link. But the thing about a square bill in the month of March, it is very specific on water temperature and water clarity correlation. You have got to have water temperature in the mid 50s for them to hit a square bill decently. If you got water temperatures around 50, a little bit too cold, not say that you can't catch one, but those fish aren't really quite up yet enough. But once you start getting water temperatures 54, 55, 56, 57 degrees, and you have a correlation with some stained water, you want water visibility for the square bill no more than 1.5 feet. You want about 12 to 15 inches of visibility for the square bill. And if you get the combination of mid 50s water temperature and water visibility 12 to 15 inches, and you have some type of, any type of rocky bank, it could be a gravel rock, it could be rock like my fist, it could be basketball, even some type of a bluff bank. Parallel those rocky banks with the square bill, put it on 12-pound test fluorocarbon line, and just fish it with a slow, medium, stop and go retrieve. You don't want to fish it too slow, you know, just pretty much, oh, I guess you could call it a medium, just a medium stop and go retrieve, really trying to get it to hit those rocks as much as you can. But there's something about the action of a square bill crankbait when the fish get in that zone of 55-degree water and about 1 foot of visibility, they will hammer some type of a crawdad square bill. In fact, several of the biggest bags of fish I've ever caught in March have come on a square bill crankbait in those exact same situations. Okay, the next one that you've got to have all the time, it's probably one of the best ones for it, is a full-size jig. This is my Blaukat Throwback jig. I do like with the Chatterbait in the March, I do like some type of a brown or green, brown and orange with a green pumpkin trailer most of the time, unless the water visibility is, 12 inches or less, and then I'll go to the black and blue. This is the black and blue tinsel throwback jig. But these are my two jig combinations, and you want a big jig. This is the Zoom Super Chunk trailer, which is, and sometimes, guys, I've got the Super Chunk threaded on it. Sometimes to create an even bigger profile, I'll take the Super Chunk and I'll hook it on just like an old pork frog. And what that does is that gives me more length to the bait and even creates a larger profile. So I'll fish it like this a bunch. You can see here's the difference between threading it on and hanging it off the end as far as how it looks. Same trailer, you just hooked it differently. But same type of deal with the jig, guys. And a lot of these baits we're talking about, you fish them in the same areas. Fishing, flip and pitch that big throwback jig just around whatever shallow cover that you have. Water visibility, anything 3 foot or less is going to be good with it. And whatever cover that your lake has, and you do need some type of a cover. I mean, you can catch them on bare rock, especially like on riprap or something, just methodically pitching the riprap. But I like to fish that jig around some type of cover, especially around some type of shallow docks. If you got shallow docks that have like no more than 5 foot of water on the outside of those docks in some stained water, really good for the big jig. Okay, the next one is my number one bait. I've talked about this before, you guys that have been with me for a while. My number one big fish lure in the month of March, and that's a big old spinnerbait. 3/4 ounce spinnerbait, number 7 or number 8 willow leaf blade or Colorado. Big 3/4 ounce head, trailer, full skirt. Guys, this is the bait you're gonna catch the big ones on in March. It's absolutely the best big bass lure. Big bass, it is. It's the best big bass March lure out of anything I'm talking about here. You can catch big ones on anything I'm talking about, but as far as the percentage of bites that I've gotten on a big spinnerbait that translated into 7-pounders, this is the bait that I've caught them on right here. Again, same type of deal. Slow rolling it over submerged grass is a great way to catch them. Slow rolling it on rocky banks, slow rolling it around shoreline cover, lily pads, shallow grass, whatever that you have. You don't have to have that big spinnerbait next to cover in March. You can just slow roll it down a rocky bank and catch big ones too. In fact, I've done that really, really good. Slow rolling it on steep banks, like in the coves, not necessarily in the creeks and the main lake, but if you can find like a cove that's got some steep banks on it, a lot of times those big fish will stage in those steep banks and those coves, and you can catch them slow rolling that big spinnerbait. Okay, and the final one, guys, is a big swim bait, specifically the 8-inch Megabass Magdraft here. This is going to catch you another giant. Now, the difference between the Magdraft bite and all the other stuff that I talked about here, everything I talked about before the Magdraft, shallow water target oriented, and basically in water less than 5 foot deep. With the Magdraft, you're after a different group of fish. You're after those fish that are just starting to get in the pre-spawn. So what I'm doing with the big Magdraft is I'm fishing it over main lake and secondary points and steep banks that have a sharp drop on it. And I'm keeping the bait over deep water where those fish have to come up on it. So let me give you a prime example. If I get out on a main lake or secondary point, I'll get my boat, say in 20 to 25 foot of water. I'll cast the Magdraft out, fan cast all over the point, try to keep it about halfway down in the water column. So if the water's 20 foot deep, I'm reeling the Magdraft through 10 foot of water. The water's 10 foot deep, I'm reeling the Magdraft through 5 foot of water. That's gonna be the way you're gonna catch the big ones. And the same with the steep banks. A lot of times what I do with the Magdraft, like on a steep, bluffy channel bank, I'll get my boat in 25 or 30 foot of water, make a long 45-degree angle cast to the bank, and just slow roll it down that slope. And again, let the bait sink enough to try to get it halfway down the water column. And guys, you'll catch you some giants on this, specifically during the month of March, but you got to have wind and you got to have clouds. If you don't have wind and clouds, you're not going to catch much on it. But if you get a situation where you have water visibility, I want water visibility of at least 2.5 foot. 2.5 to 5 foot is perfect. And the clarity, wind and clouds, guys, they will hammer this thing. If you say, for example, you're out mid-March and it's 70 degrees out, cloudy, maybe even misty rain, you got a 15-mile-an-hour wind or something like that, you got water visibility of 3 or 4 foot, you throw this sucker on some points and you'll catch some giant bass on it. So anyway, guys, that's my 5 baits for March and the type of areas that I like to fish them. Hope you guys catch some big ones this month. We'll talk later.